Welcome back, viewers and subscribers. It's your Star Flames, and we're back with another video. So, if you're new or returning and you haven't subscribed us yet, please subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notification bell and join the family. While you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up and help your girl out. Now, guys, in this video, we're going to talk about Candace Owens getting deposed in a lawsuit against her pal, Kanye West. Let's talk about it, because when I heard of this, I said, I know what exactly is happening here. And this individual thinks they're smart, but they forget that the games that you can play with Kanye West, you cannot play those games on a Candace Owens. Let's talk about it, because Ye was accused of being unfair and abusive to a former Yeezy staffer. I don't remember what position he holds at Yeezy, but basically this individual gave a story about being at a hotel and Ye wanting to watch a particular movie. Ye was rude and abusive to him, and he's basically subpoenaing Candace Owens for 5 years worth of communications between her and Kanye West. Now, I don't know how 5 years worth of communication between Kanye West and Candace Owens is going to help this individual prove that Ye has been very much rude and aggressive to him, because Candace Owens doesn't work with Kanye West. And I believe what this individual is doing is basically trying to, implicate Candace Owens to say, oh my God, Candace Owens is the mastermind behind Kanye's behavior. And both of them hate Jewish people, because that is just one of the, popular statements that people have been making about Kanye West and Candace Owens because of what Kanye has said openly and publicly on social media. And we know that Candace Owens has denounced the genocide against the Palestinian innocent women and kids. So because she spoke out against the genocide, people, they are basically denoting that to be just her being hateful, when that's definitely not the case. Also, how is this 5 years worth of text messages going to help this individual? And the fact that this individual even thinks that their ridiculous request is going to stand, you know that Candace Owens is going to dispute that, and she's going to do so from a standpoint that makes actual, factual, legal sense. But let's take a look at Candace Owens responding to getting deposed in this lawsuit with Ye, and then I'll get back with the rest of my commentary.
I feel like right now in my life, I need a YouTuber who's like dedicated to me in the same way that Britney Spears fan was dedicated to her many moons ago when he made this video. Remember this?
Leave Britney alone! Please.
That's what I need right now. I need someone to just go live and be like, leave Candace alone. Just let her be pregnant. Please. But no, instead I have you guys. Apparently you're all too emotionally stable to do anything like that. Anyways, it is true. I got hit by another process server yesterday at my house with news of another lawsuit. I am being subpoenaed for 5 years of text messages between myself and the artist formerly known as Kanye West in a lawsuit which has been filed by a former employee of his named Trevor Phillips. And I just want to read you guys, just so you understand how not real my life is, I just want to read you guys directly from this filing, just a little portion of what's going on here, okay? Suddenly, Ye grabbed the hotel phone and sternly told the operator, I asked you to put on Batman. Come put on Batman now. Phillips remained quiet and baffled. A few moments later, the Nobu hotel staff arrived and they put on The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz. Kanye lowered the volume to 0 and he and Phillips watched the movie in total silence. After a long and awkward silence, Kanye finally spoke again. Turning his attention back to Phillips, he began an unprovoked and bigoted rant attacking Jewish people, referencing the stereotype dating back to the Middle Ages that Jews are miserly, Kanye opined. These Jews are greedy. With sincerity, he professed, "I hate Jewish people." Rather than recognizing or repenting for his public remarks, he shifted blame on his misfortune to others. He said, quote, "Adidas did me wrong," end quote. Okay, so, no, some people in the comments are asking if this is an April Fool's joke. No, this is not April Fool's. This is the lawsuit, a piece of the lawsuit that I'm being drafted into. I was not in this hotel room. I did not watch the Batman. I did not watch him yell at the staff about the Batman. In fact, I have not even seen this Batman. I've never seen this Batman in my life. And I will say, small part of me thinks that making somebody watch a movie on silent and not saying a word is a little bit of a power move. But I have nothing to do with this. So I said, Noah, I'm tired. Please get me out of this. I'm tired. I'm fat. Everybody just needs to chill, okay? And there has to be some legal argument that holds court that seems somewhat valid, some Latin term that we can use called quid pro Kanye. I feel like that's a plea that I could make, meaning yay. And I find it completely strange because the thing that Ye is known for, like the idea that you need to have access to 5 years of my text messages to know what Kanye West thinks is absurd. That is exactly what he's known for, constantly telling people what he thinks. He's the one person who actually can't just keep the thoughts in his head and he just says it. His decorum does not change in the presence of a judge. This is real footage of Kanye West at a deposition in which he decided he was just going to be on his phone. Take a listen.
I see that you're looking down at probably a device. Are you on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask as a ground rule that you not be on your phone during the exam. Can we agree to that?
Well, is that legally what it should be?
I'm not going to advise you as to the law. That's why your lawyers are here. But that is my ground rule for the deposition, consistent with California law, that you need to be present, focused on the examination and not on a device.
Due to my mental geniusness, in order to focus on this bullshit, I need to be on a phone.
It's real. This is all real. None of this is an April Fool's joke. So I just was like, whatever plea we have to make, as in, like, if you want to know what Kanye thinks, just ask him. I'm not a person that believes in betraying a friend or hanging a friend out to dry when literally every single person in the world was commenting on Ye, canceling Ye, he was over, whatever. And then I fast forwarded a year from that, and there was this remarkable whiplash when I was being told that Kanye's tweet about DEFCON 3 was the most severe, horrific, terrible thing that could possibly happen, which it was a word. These were words. And then a year later, after October 7th happened, and Bibi Netanyahu literally executed DEFCON 3, I would say actually DEFCON 1 on Palestinians, that same exact media that was going to cancel me for refusing to comment on Ye's tweet, we're now going, okay, no, but you're not even allowed to comment on actual violence. So words are violence, but violence is not actually violence in this context. And if you show any emotion or any, a heart toward dead Palestinian kids, then we're going to cancel you. So it was just crazy. It was maddening to me to have seen how quickly the media had switched up and go, oh, this is so different. And I will forever, I want to be very clear, I will forever respect Ye for what I believe he did, what I know he did, which was him revealing a sinister Hollywood government type MK Ultra program, which almost killed him. Okay. Go find clips of Ye before they put him in the hospital and after they put him in the hospital. And then learn or ask yourself why it is that Harley Pasternak, who is involved in psychiatrics, we're going to get to all of that. And when Kanye presented a text message where he was threatening him, saying, I will take you to La La Land, that we ignored that. And I'm going to remind you of that because Tucker Carlson did a brilliant monologue on that when he was back on Fox, of what Harley Pasternak said and what the threat was and what the media ignored. Take a listen.
Well, at this point, some of the audience began to boo, but West kept going. He complimented Donald Trump repeatedly. At one point, he used the phrase, "Make America Great Again." It was, to put it mildly, not the kind of thing you normally hear at a rap concert. And then, 2 days later, Kanye West was in the hospital. Well, at the house of his family's exercise trainer, a man called Harley Pasternak, West apparently suffered some kind of mental break. Pasternak called an ambulance to pick him up. West was taken away, And then he was sedated with at least 7 different psychiatric medications, including benzodiazepines, lithium, sleeping pills, and olanzapine. Then West posted something remarkable on Twitter, which for some reason virtually all of American media ignored, which is odd because media outlets are not usually in the business of ignoring remarkable things, but they did. And what he posted was a picture of a text exchange that he had had with Harley Pasternak. Pasternak was explaining that West had better stop saying, quote, crazy stuff. In other words, he'd better get back on script, or else he would be severely punished. Quote, second option, if you don't shut up, quote, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you, and you go back to zombie land forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same.
And so I want to be very clear that I have had conversations with Ye about what was done to him in that hospital, and I will never turn my back on him. I now would like to draw your attention to Harley Pasternak's 2019 interview that he gave to Escape Fitness discussing his military training and the impact of drugs for the military. Take a listen.
Okay, so working for the military, I wasn't governed by the same laws that the typical person was, so I could look at the impact of certain drugs that are not everyday things.
So if you want to know who I believe is a monster, Harley Pasternak would be that individual. And as I said, I think that Ye barely escaped with his life, and I will always view him and deem him to be a survivor, and I will always deeply respect that he has come out and he has spoken about what happened to him. And if people would stop mocking him and actually start listening to what he says happened to him, we might be able to unwind a lot of the evil that has been going on in Hollywood since it was established.
Okay, guys. So there you have it. There's absolutely no reason for Candace Owens to be subpoenaed in a case against Ye. But these are the things that they do when they have an agenda. And I know that quite a few people have been saying to me, I need to do a reaction video on this. So I hope this does it for you guys. Now, I'm also aware that what many people have been implying is the sense that I may have forgotten what has happened to Ye and what they did to him. I haven't forgotten that, and that is not something that anyone can consciously forget, even if you want to, because it's so grim and it is so horrific. It's not something that I can consciously forget. However, at the same time, I cannot consciously encourage a bad behavior that is not going to be somewhat productive to you in the end. It's good to express yourself, as I've always said, but when it comes to the manner in which he's dragging his kids and dragging Kim in that sense, as it relates to the kids about things that aren't factual, I cannot support that because the kids are not being trafficked by Kim. We know this consciously because if the kids were, he would have been the first to put an end to that. So as such, I can't support him saying that he doesn't have joint custody when he has, in fact, has joint custody. And I cannot support him saying Kim is trafficking his kids when that is not happening because we know that ain't no way he would sit and allow those things to happen. So I haven't forgotten, but I have to give credit where credit is due. And whenever Ye is wrong, I have to say it out loud and clear. Ye is not my personal friend. He's not someone that I've met, in that sense to say, oh my God, this creator has turned on Ye and, all of that jazz. Encouraging someone to do the right thing is not you turning against them. Encouraging someone to get help for something that can be very detrimental to them, and the longer they wait to get help, it's not a bad thing. It just all depends on how you look at things, how you look at life, and your personal views, how you view things is definitely not within my control. So I just wanted to acknowledge that I see you all. I definitely hear you all. However, I'm choosing consciously to stand in the gap, and I'm choosing consciously to say I cannot support you making some statements on the internet. You guys know that when you did the copyright and many people did not understand, I understood and I explained what I understood about it. When he did, the swastika and many people were repulsed by it, I understood why people would be repulsed by it. And I understand why he doesn't see it offensive. So there are things that I will say that I understand, even when it's repulsive. And there are things that I don't understand. I don't understand you basically denouncing your kids on the internet. And many people will try to convince me that he did not. But saying out publicly that you regret having kids with this woman, that's you literally denouncing those kids. And it's not something that should be put out there. And if it is the case that Ye is at a point where whatever they did to him is affecting him so badly, he needs to get help, because it's not as though he is underprivileged. He's very much privileged. He has access to resources, money. He can take flights. He can charter private jets. So there's literally no excuse. But I also am aware that whenever someone has a mental health crisis, they're always in denial about what is happening with them. And it is hard for them to get help because they think that everyone is basically out to get them, when that's definitely not the case. But I do hope that he gets some help really soon. And I do hope that he gets to be the best version of himself once again. And I'm going to leave that at that. So that's all I have to share in this video with you guys. That's my 2 cents on the entire thing. Leave a comment below. Stay safe. And we're going to talk some more in the comment section. Peace.